In today's video, let's talk about when to move. There are a bunch of numbers that you have to put together, and there are many things you have to sit down and have the expertise on the real estate, personal financing, your personal goal, your real estate goal. And also I'll cover when actually people move. There are about 7 different stages of when people move, because I've seen those different stages with different clients of mine. I'll talk about that. And here are some of the topics we're going to cover. Obviously, you need to decide on why. And you net proceeds. When your current home sells, what kind of proceeds can you expect and how to leverage that? You have to have that number. The next place is new mortgage amount. You need that to really decide. And what's the last one? The best time. And obviously this can be subjective, but if these numbers, these facts kind of line up, it will give you much clearer understanding of what you're trying to do. If you don't care about the net proceeds, you're super rich, you don't have to think about this. You just move, you just find a place. But that's not, mostly for us. So let's talk about when to move. So there are about 7 different stages, as I mentioned. The first one is people who are renting right now. They want to own instead of renting. The second time is first-time home buyers moving up to next home. And this is when, typically the first-time homes are pretty small. They're in a, lower price part of the neighborhood. Now they're having kids. They want to go to a better school district, maybe bigger home, going from 1,200 square foot single-family home to like 2,500 square foot, or from condominium to single-family home. So those are the move up staging. The third time that I see in people's life phase is that move up again, which could means like they just had a promotion, they are making a lot more money, they had two more kids, or sometimes it's like the personal desire. You want to have that lifestyle. You want to live in certain walkable neighborhood because you really enjoy that. Or you want to have a bigger yard. So those are, the third one is moving up again to a better home. The fourth one that I see often is typically it's like divorce situation or death in the family. You want to make a change. The fifth one is the job change. Now, this is something you sometimes cannot control. You have to go where the job is, and I see that a lot. And now the sixth one is downsizing, and this is when people are ready to retire, or they're like a freelancer, so they can work anywhere, they can move. And so this is kind of like downsizing. I've seen where some people will just do downsizing, or sometimes people split that big house into a like one vacation home or one small condominium, so they can travel a lot more and things like that. And then the last 7th stage is people want to cash out, and this is a stage that I don't see that often. I only saw one couple pretty recently. They already lined up and put on the wait list for the retirement home, and they're very planned out. Mostly people live in the stage 6 at smaller home, and then they pass away, and their kids will take care of that. And that's what I see a lot of times. But cashing out and you planning out, that's whole another level of planning, in my opinion. So when to move. Now that I just covered why, why you move, because you want to own instead of rent. You want to move up because you have more kids. You want to move because you want to live in the city, suburbs, next grocery store, having bigger yard, more bedroom, more office space, better schools, all those things. Move up again to a bigger school, bigger neighborhood, the personal desire, more kids, So it's like so divorce, death, job change, downsizing, and diversifying homes, and then cashing out. So if you're in, I don't want to go into each of these 7 reasons why, because then this video will become really long. But you need to sit down, and this is where again it could be one of the most important things. The numbers typically work out. A lot of times you have enough equity. Sometimes when this why is clear enough, people make sacrifices, meaning they give up on the 3% mortgage and go to 6% because it has to be done in some cases. A lot of times, job change, divorce, these are like forced. Moving up again from first home is somewhat calculated. It's not really forced. A lot of times they can live in their first home and just squeeze in their kids into bunk beds, like 3-level bunk beds. Who cares? You can make it work. But these are more choice. The divorce and job change are more like forced, right? So it's very different situations, but really spend a lot of time on this. That's my advice. And one of my very strong skill set is listening to people. I actually sit down. I actually enjoy this conversation a lot because I get involved in and becoming another like thinking processor to a family because it's really hard to see clearly, objectively, why you're moving. What kind of pain points you have? What would it do for you if you make the move? And what does that mean to you? And how much does it matter to you? How much the money changes? Would you be willing to make this happen so that, let's say financially, what kind of risk you want to take, what kind of savings or what kind of losses you're willing to take to make this why happening. When you have this clearly, everything kind of lines up and people find ways to make work. Okay, so spend time, ask why. I make this exercise to couple: go to separate room, your own time, piece of paper, cup of coffee, and write down pros and cons. When you know really clearly, you can make it happen. Your subconscious will make it happen. Let's move on to the next one. The net proceeds. So this is obviously the first stage. When you rent, you don't really have a net proceeds. You just wasted your rent. So you don't have a proceeds. But when you own your first home and own, you're going to hopefully make some money. If you're not making money, then you're underwater. You're in short sale situation. Now, when divorce, death, and job change, you may actually do the short sale because you're forced. You don't have any other option, right? I mean, the other option is that you take the loss and just rent that out instead of selling, and keeping it for 10 years will make it more like positive situation than the negative underwater situation, because time fixes in real estate most likely. So home value goes up, your equity grows, right? So net proceeds. So now let's say you own your first home and you are selling that. And a lot of times I find that first home to the move off home, you have a lot of equity because first homes are one of the most desired, the class of real estate. It rents well, it sells well. There's a lot of buyers want your first home, so you make a lot of proceeds. Now, in Oregon, I made a recently video. If you calculate about 6% of the sales process fee, that includes agent's fee and escrow fees and everything, about 94% of your selling price will be more likely your net proceeds, minus the mortgage that you have to pay off, minus the capital gains tax. If you're making more than $500,000, as a couple. As a single, it's a $250,000. So that will become your net proceeds. So you have to know the market value. And this is where you could just average out Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. That's like variance like 10% plus minus. The best way is talking to a few local real estate agents and see, hey, if I want to sell it within the median days on the market, in my market, what can you sell it for? And they're going to give you a range. And you have to kind of be more conservative. Because some agents will promise you to get the listing and they overprice, sit on the market, do price adjustment, you get tired, agents get hired, and then you fail the process. So kind of be conservative when you get the range of price. And then what else do you want to know about the net proceeds? If you have a home equity line of credit, the HELOC loan, make sure to deduct from that so that you have more accurate. I'm actually going through personally right now. We're thinking about moving, so a lot of these things are in my head. So you're kind of getting sort of insiders, you know, the insider information in a sense. Now, I can say that I'm a financial advisor because I'm not. Because I'm a real estate agent who can see these things with my personal knowledge of financial advisors' knowledge, where my goal here is to make sense of a long-term future reallocation of my real estate. It's kind of like fancy words, but what I mean by that is I just want to position myself so that I can have some like a cash flow from my properties, or be able to financially do better than right now. And if I can make the right decision, right strategy, using the right tactics, I will get there faster and I'll be more successful. So that's like where my mind is preoccupied right now. I'm running, bunch of numbers, bunch of different scenarios, pulling money out of here, or should I just sell? So those are the questions that I'm going through personally. But I had helped many other, home buyers and home sellers. So I probably have more knowledge than most of you guys out there. Well, that's why I decided to make this video, not just as a real estate agent. But yeah, having this number clearly will give you more options. It will open up more options. Right now, for example, I'm considering, so initial thought was selling my, current home and use the equity. But now I'm considering, what if I rent my current home too? Because it will, if I rent it out, it will cash flow. So do I want to let this go? Do I want to just cash out right now? I don't think I'm not paying capital gain tax on this one, but do I want to maybe keep it as an investment, right? So I'm thinking that. So going back to it, having really clear understanding of the net proceeds when you sell, this will give you many different options, in my opinion, rather than just let's sell and then go from there, So once the real estate is sold, it's gone. So you have to be thoughtful. Now, the new place is mortgage payment. So this will be also important. So for example, if I sell this house and move to next one that I'm thinking, there's going to be about $1,000 or about $1,500 more a month that I have to pay because of the high mortgage rates. My current rate is below 4%, I think, or close to 4%. But when you have to buy the next one, when I have to buy the next one at 6%, 6.25%, I have to pay more. That's the reality. That's why it needs to be calculated very well. It needs to be strategized very well. Oh, by the way, if you're in my situation and you want to take advantage of my knowledge, give me a call and I can help you. Only in Oregon. Anywhere else, I have no idea. So, new mortgage 6%, 6.25%. Right now on point is like 6%. And when you run this number, you cannot always assume that the rate will come down. I'm not expecting rate will come down to 5% in the next 2 years and banking on that fact. What if it doesn't? Then I'll be in trouble, right? So I need to feel comfortable paying the extra 1,000, 1,500 more a month in order to make this happen. Now I have a little bit more incentives because I'm kind of like try to plan out my chess pieces so that I can win the war of my personal finance. So I'll be willing to take some risks here, and for you too. I mean, you can't really bank on like projected promotion, the higher income. You need to have that in your pocket before you make this kind of moves. With the divorce situation, that's kind of tough one. You don't really have a lot of choices. The job change, obviously you need to have kind of like lateral move or getting better move in the next job or next state or city. Let's talk about it a little bit. The job is where it can be tricky. If you are moving from Oregon to Texas, you have to be really educated on the property tax hikes. They may have lower price, which they do in many cities, but their property tax is way higher. And Texas is one of the states that they reset at the sale. In Oregon, it's not. In Oregon, if the property tax is really low, it can only go up 3% a year. With the city levies, not more than 5%. But in Texas, your seller might be paying $2,000 a year property taxes, but you buy at the current market value, your property tax can jump big time. I don't think they have caps, so they reset, which means you could be paying $10,000 after you buy it. So make sure to talk to the local lender, realtor, to make sure to understand this new mortgage payment. Without this clear picture of this, you're not going to be able to make the move because you'll be scared, you'll be worried, you'll be unknown, you're uneducated, you're not going to be able to make the move. So make sure to get that. What else do I want to talk about the new? This is a gimme. A lot of times people have this, I think, because you see the home on Zillow, you run the calculator, but when you look at the brand new home, you're not going to see that property tax jump after you buy. When you move from one state to the other, you may not. So make sure to include that property taxes depending on different states. Now let's move on to the last piece. Now with all these things figured out, you'll know when is the best time to move. This needs to have all this information, your wants and needs, your proceeds, your net proceeds, your next mortgage payment, and why, and how much that is worth to make that why happen. So this is where I personally have trouble for my own sort of personal situation because I think too much. But it needs to happen. Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet. The best time, that could include your current market condition. Let's say if you're in Austin, Texas, home values went down a lot, and it could be a tricky one. If you're in a forced situation, divorce, job change, you have to do it. You don't have a choice. But if you're thinking about moving up, you have choice. Downsizing, you have choice. You might want to really look at next 1 to 2 year projected real estate market to see, can I net a little bit more? Is my city really booming right now? Are more people moving into that city, my city, or not? If I'm in Seattle right now, I would be selling sooner than later because of the wealth tax. People may move out, and that's what's happening right now. In Oregon, yeah, I mean, it's kind of tricky one. There are a lot of people moving out, but moving in as well. Moving out ones are due to the job change. Bunch of layoffs from Intel and Nike and other companies. That's one. And then we're on the manufacturer side of things, a lot of this industry. So the AI isn't impacting that layoffs as much, but in Seattle where the software is really prevalent, yeah. So you have to kind of look at long term and see when is best time to sell at least. If you're moving within the city, it kind of washes out. But if you're moving out of state, you have to think about that. Yeah, I mean, what else would I think about? And then obviously the personal financial goal objectives. What kind of returns you want to get? What kind of cash flows you want to get if you're keeping that property? What kind of savings can you get? What kind of higher mortgage payment will it become? What it means to you? So you have to have all these numbers. Then it should give you a better understanding when might be the best time. For example, you're selling your second move of home that is much higher price to downsize, to cash out, to diversify. I think you'll know, well, this is good time because this is too much cash sitting in my home, in my equity. As equity, I need to leverage that, and this is good time. Or you see a property that you want to buy, you will see it very clearly. So I went all over the board here, but hopefully this gives you a good understanding of what to think about, how to plan for things. And this kind of planning stage, you want to take at least like a few weeks. There was one time when I got laid off from a corporation job in Minnesota. Our moving decision happened within a week. I got laid off, I think Monday or Tuesday in 2005. The next week, we moved out to Portland. That was my job change. It wasn't change, it was job loss situation. It was tough times. But other than that, you want to take at least about a month, keep writing down pros and cons, get all these numbers, think about why do I need to move, what it would do for me, all of that. Net proceeds, the next place, mortgage payment, and best time and everything. So yeah, hope that helps. If you want to have this kind of in-depth, personalized, customized consultation with me in Oregon, give me a call, 503-515-4499. And if you're out of state, put like a comment section. I'll do my best to answer your questions. It's kind of fun. I mean, I'm not going to be able to help you in person, but at least I can give you my opinion. And if you're looking for a real estate agent outside of where I am, I can interview and find you the best agent that I would hire with some fee. We call it the referral fee. I'll be happy to do that service too if you need help on that, finding a real estate agent. So give me a call or leave a comment if you have a question. If you like this video, hit the like button and share with your relatives and friends so they can get this information too. And thanks so much for watching, and see you on the next video. Bye.